Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Ripples Rising, empowering voices, creating waves of change. We've got a little bit of ripple on Beaver Lake this afternoon. I'm really excited about having Carrie Perrien Smith with us today. She is a JP on our quorum court. JP means Justice of the Peace. Carrie Perrien Smith is a marketing, communications, and publishing consultant and a community servant with a passion for helping business owners. She built her leadership resume working in volunteer leadership roles with over 20 charities and organizations for more than 20 years. Since 2019, Carrie has served as Justice of the Peace on the Benton County Quorum Court, the county's legislative body. She's been active in local Republican Party organizations since 2011, including serving as president of the Benton County Republican Women. She currently serves on the leadership team for Benton County Conservative Grassroots, an organization that recruits, trains, and supports candidates who are faithful to the Bible and to the Constitution. Carrie is the lead singer in two local bands, a folk rock band called Home by Daylight and a classic rock band called Party Line. She lives in Rogers with her trophy husband Tom and their two spoiled dogs, Coco and Mittens. Carrie has written 2 books for the business owners she loves so much: Currency, Striking Networking Gold in a Relationship Economy, and Like You Own It, Breakthrough Strategies for Confident Living. Both are available online. Carrie, welcome, and let's talk about local county politics and what ripples that you cause. She causes.
You know, I think it's good to be a person who creates ripples, because why on earth did God put us on this earth if we don't? And so we don't always get it right, but I think when we're out there challenging the way people think and creating maybe some tension sometimes, better ideas, and that's a business idea that I bring from my business experience. Mm-hmm. You know, in industry, it's like I've always learned that when you have a team that is diverse and gifted differently, and you get different ideas to the table, you know, as long as you're a team that can come together and go forward, you get a better product. And I feel like that we have that opportunity in government. So the Quorum Court is the legislative body, which is like city council for the county. A lot of people understand what a city council is. Mm-hmm. And your Justice of the Peace is like an alderman or a city council member on that board. And so we're one of 7 states that call us that. So most states are like, you know, they have a commission, and it's like 4 people for the county. Well, the state of Arkansas gives us justices of the peace based on our population, and so we have the state maximum of 15 justices of the peace, and man, it's a fabulous group of people. I'm so honored to serve with them. So many very credentialed people. It just really is a blessing to sit there and be able to help the county make decisions as much as we're allowed to.
And how long have you been on the Quorum Court?
So this is my 7th year.
7th year.
We run every 2 years.
So every other year you got a campaign.
I tell you, that's the tyranny of the 2-year. I don't know how representatives and congressmen, and I mean, I got a little district, and it's manageable to run every 2 years and be on 2,000 doorsteps. But man, it does feel like you run a year, serve a year, run a year, serve a year, because there's some things that you can't do, or you shouldn't do. You know, just because it's not wrong or against the law doesn't mean it's not unethical. And so there's certain things you can't do during an election year when you're in an active campaign, and it feels like I'm always in an active campaign. Yes. So I try to condense that as much as possible, but the reality is you hit that election year. Mm-hmm. It's a fine line to walk.
It is. For the past 7 years, Carrie, what kind of I'm going to ask some of the major ripples that have happened in the Benton County government that you and the other JPs have caused.
Yeah. Well, and I would tell you, it's our response, I think, to the culture. In 2020, You know, so I started my first year on the Quorum Court in 2019. In 2020, guess what happened? We had COVID.
Yeah.
And, you know, and the world unrest ensued with, you know, the Black Lives Matter movement, and really challenged us. And we're a part of the country. We love law enforcement. You know, we honor their contribution. We believe that they're an important part of our society. And with Benton and Washington County, we're in the northwest corner, Rogers, Springdale, Fayetteville, Bentonville. And so we are the two most populated counties. You know, we're number 2 and 3. The only one beyond that's bigger than that is Pulaski. And I'll tell
Where
you,
Little Rock is.
yeah, where Little Rock is in the capital. And you know, it's predicted that probably within the next 5 years, Benton County will be the most populated county in the state. So there's a lot of things that are changing fast up here. We're behind on some things, but this is an area that was really grown by entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And so that really resonates with me as an elected official.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, what kind of ripples have you made in your business as well?
Yeah, so one of the most important things that I've been able to do as a business consultant over the years, and I spent 15 years inside corporate America, and I got the chance finally while I was working on my MBA to, you know, leave the corporate world and start my own business. And I was self-employed when I lived out of state in Texas, and it just, the opportunity didn't present itself, and frankly the internet wasn't what it is today.
No.
And I would not have had to start over. But, you know, that's the way it is. But way back then, we didn't have the internet, right?
No.
But when I moved here in 1992, I did go back in-house for several years. And so when I got a chance to come back out in 2001, I had a passion. I'd grown up in a small business family, and we really, you know, I really wanted to help them. And I had, you know, some marketing sense about me. And so I volunteered in ways in the community to help build up our small businesses. And so I volunteered for SCORE, which provides small business counseling for free.
Oh, okay.
They're an SBA organization. And so did that, was very active in the Chamber of Commerce's. I've run a networking group for the last few years, but I was like one of the original members in 2002 when we launched that. And that group is still going on today, and I'm proud to co-lead that with my friend Bill Shahara. But the ability to be self-employed gave me the flexibility to go out and make a difference in my community. And that really, you know, when you leave your corporate world too soon, you miss a chance to build your leadership resume there. But I got a chance to do that in a much more meaningful way that creates everyday impact for business owners, for the community. And so I've got a chance to serve in 20 organizations over the last 20 years. 20. Yeah, and I've learned so much from that, and you would be surprised. I thought, gosh, should I really be finishing my MBA when I'm leaving, you know, going out to, you know, who cares whether I've got an MBA out there? Working in nonprofit and with professional organizations in a volunteer role in every single one of those, you'd be surprised how much you use an MBA.
Yes.
And how much you're going to rely on that leadership experience, and how it's going to shape you and form you. You know, when you're trying to motivate people who have no reason to be there, they don't get a paycheck. They're volunteers.
That's right.
So it really, you know, you learn about leading people, you learn about what's practical, you learn to make a lot of mistakes. I mean, I think it's been so valuable to be willing to be outspoken. And you make a mistake or two, and guess what? You learn to walk that back, and you learn how to go, okay, I was wrong, or hey, well, and as elected officials, you know, we don't always get it right. And sometimes we get information after we've already voted, right?
Wow.
I mean, and you have to and those come back to haunt you sometimes. And there's a lot of decisions and things you say that show up during election cycle, you know, from your opponent. And it's been a great experience to be able to do that live and you know, do it in
how
public.
Everything's growing.
Yeah, and I will tell you, people are watching you all the time.
That's right.
Even if you don't realize it.
That's right.
Like, I'm watching people when they're making mistakes, because I'm like, I don't want to make that mistake. How could I learn and not do that one? I can make my mistakes, right?
Right.
That's how we learn. That's how we.
That's how
hey,
we
if you're
learn.
not taking risks, you're not growing.
That's it. If you're not taking risk, you're not growing. And when you're taking risk, you're going to, as we call it, stumble forward. We need to stumble forward. We need to continue to move forward. And just, everybody has a hiccup or a bump in the road or whatever happens. And we just got to continue to move forward. Now, Carrie and I were talking a little bit earlier. There's only, you said 2 women on the quorum court.
Yeah.
With 16 people?
We have 15.
15 people, and only 2 women. And when you started 7 years ago, was it about half women?
Almost half.
So what do you think's happened here, and what would you say to a woman who wants to get involved in politics, whether it's a school board, start local, or go for the big gusto, state rep, or what? Give us some ideas.
Yeah, well, I will tell you that there's a difference between men and women when it comes to public office and considering it. Men wake up one day and go, I think I'll run for office. And go men. I love that about you. But women, and I am constantly out there looking for people to fill the government leadership pipeline. I mean, I love being here. I won't always be in government, but I will always be able to influence, and I will always be able to build up people and, make sure that we've got good people out there running. But with women, we're wired differently. We ask, gosh, I've got a grandbaby coming, or my mom is sick, or, we're asking, can I make sure that I can still fulfill my volunteer commitments? And oh my goodness, this is so much work. And so we're not afraid of the work, but we really have to be able to wrap a team around them when we see somebody who's really amazing. And we have some really amazing women in Northwest Arkansas that serve in our state legislature. But county government is a little bit different. And I think county government is, the gem I just didn't realize. Because my reason for running for office originally was municipal affairs. I felt like we needed more business owners at the table. And that's why I originally ran. I felt like we should be doing more as a city to do that. Now, as luck would have it, I ended up in county government, and not having known how the city works, I am completely inside the city limits, JP. Okay. So how I help my constituents is different than those who have a lot of, unincorporated Benton County. I help them understand how to get problems that they're having addressed to the city. Sometimes it's zoning. Sometimes it's, hey, the dog barking next door. It's like little neighborly issues almost. And then, my first few terms was just the city of Rogers. Well, after they redistricted,
yes,
and they redistrict us when the census happens, and a lot of times that really changes our footprint. Here in Northwest Arkansas, where we are one of the fastest growing areas,
yes,
it changes our footprint a lot, and especially we're seeing more shift from the state legislatures, legislators moving up. Like I think we got 2 state representative seats and a Senate seat up here. I think maybe one of those is split over Benton and Washington County, and then a Washington County state representative and a Benton County state representative. And the same thing happens with our court system.
Yes.
We're getting, or did you guys, I don't know if you guys, I don't know about Washington County, but I know Benton County got approved for a new judge. And so we'll have a new judicial court that will be coming online in 27. So the growth.
Because we're going to hit 1 million people by 2030 or so. We're at around 600,000 or 700,000 in metropolitan statistical area right now. Yeah. And it's about average about 500 people a month coming into this area.
They throw this number out. So 32 people are, moving to Northwest Arkansas, but I think that number also includes people who are being born here. So they're not going to be driving a car for a few years. They're not going to be like going to school for a few years. So the growth isn't quite maybe as aggressive as they say it is, but it's a lot. But, I'm already starting to see people that moved here and it wasn't what they thought it was. And maybe they miss, some of them move here and then they go, I miss my family. You know, I think it's important that we put roots down.
It is.
And, you know, as a young person, I grew up in Oklahoma.
Huh?
I couldn't wait to get out of there.
I
had a love affair with Dallas, and I wanted to move to Dallas, and that's what I did. Graduated from college, moved to Dallas.
That's what I did from here.
I love Dallas.
Oh, I love Dallas. Yes.
Yeah.
I grew up, and I didn't want to get pregnant, married, and divorced in that order. I didn't want to work at a chicken plant that I did for one day. And I got a degree and
that's kind of what it was in Arkansas.
Just go to Dallas.
This part in Arkansas. Well, and I think part of it. Remember Dallas? The TV show was on right
yes.
there. I mean, it looks so glamorous. That South Lake. You know, it just looks so glamorous. And I always felt, as a young person, you know, who really did kind of grow up in a small town, I really did. It was really amazing.
Yeah.
So
it was.
I mean, we weren't wrong,
but.
I married a boy from Fayetteville.
Oh.
Fayetteville, that's the way you say it. Fayetteville. Anyway, those of us who aren't from here, we don't get that, but we're like, oh, okay. But anyway, you just couldn't take it out of him, though. That's how I followed a boy here, but I was married to him, so. Okay. But yeah, he is from here, loved it, and he was just never happy in Dallas, and it was closer to my family, and it has been convenient to be 2 hours away from my parents and all of that. But I will tell you, I miss them. Now I understand how I am a family who no longer has roots. I mean, my daughter's not really committed. She wasn't born here. You know, we moved here when she was 6, and then she moved to Central Arkansas. So, like, literally, I have a family here now.
Interesting.
Yeah, except for my, you know, I got my husband. You know, my husband, some dogs, and my extended family of fabulous friends.
See, fabulous friends.
But there's value to you know, putting down roots.
It is.
And having all of your family close. And I don't think as a culture that we are seeing that till now. And so what I'm seeing among people I know is they're moving closer to be back with their family again. Yeah. And Generation X was that generation that moved around to wherever they moved away, but then they moved to where their grandkids are. And so maybe that will be a transition that we see where the grandkids, you know, because the younger generations are really missing.
Yes, they are.
That sense of you know, roots.
Yeah. I mean, I moved back here in 2003 after 9/11 happened, and I said I'd be danged to be in Dallas making $1 when my stepmother's cancer came back, and I was concerned about my dad becoming widowed, which he did.
Yeah.
My mother was aging by herself. She never did remarry. So, and I didn't realize how pretty Arkansas was until I moved back here, how flat Plano, Texas is.
Right.
Flat plains. But I miss Texas, but Arkansas is prettier. Northwest Arkansas is prettier.
Well, we have stuff now. I mean, the growth since the 90s, since the 90s here, and it was really because of companies like that were born and raised here, Tyson and J.B. Hunt and Walmart.
Sam Walton.
And a lot of other companies, you know, and then we had this is still a trucking hub. I mean, it was a trucking hub.
Yes.
And so we had so many businesses that grew up, and as the population changed, we were able to, you know, attract, you know, casual dining restaurants and shopping and things like that, because we had to go to Joplin and we had to go to Tulsa,
Dallas.
Yeah. So, I mean, we were used to driving.
Yes.
But we just didn't. And so that's been the blessing of the growth. We've always grown so fast over the last 25 years.
That's right.
30 years, that we never have the infrastructure enough.
Never.
You know, the highway's always too full, you know, the lights, we never get that figured out.
The affordable housing problem will always exist.
Yeah, and man, that's a conversation for a different day. There's so much to unpack with that. But I am seeing people migrate out.
There you are.
And so, and there's been some real efforts to attract certain types of people here. You know, when you've got your corporate offices here, they're going, hey, I'm looking for particular demographics. You know, I want to represent my whole country. And, you know, it's like, I remember, you know, Walmart really, you know, they went through a period of time in the beginning when they said, oh, well, that we're looking for a particular type of personality, and, you know, we feel like that only exists here in, you know, in this region, you know, around Northwest Arkansas. Well, as you know, as the company grew, they realized that, oh, by the way, there's good people everywhere. So, and you know, but the truth was, our country was more diverse.
Yes.
Than Northwest Arkansas was, and
Yes.
so there was a real interest in making sure that our home offices represented what more the demographics. And when you start asking people to move away from their families and their favorite types of restaurants and the people that do their hair, you know, in that, you know, ethnic hair was a huge challenge here. People would have to go to other areas because we didn't have anybody to style ethnic hair. And so, you know, it took a while. They wanted, you know, they said, well, we need to attract different demographics, you know, and you have to have the whole infrastructure around different demographics, you know, because it's like people like to hang out with people that look like themselves and that are culturally similar or are the same religion, you know, like we don't have a lot of Catholics here. You know, and that was a big challenge for people who had been attracted by these companies from the Northeast. And they were like, I just miss being around in an area that was more Catholic. You know, I mean, it's little things like that you realize when you're thinking, well, okay, so the companies go, well, we need to curate our population, right? Okay. We need to make sure we have plenty of young people. And, you know, we want them to have certain skill sets or ideas or whatever. So anyway, and so organizations like the Northwest Arkansas Council have worked to curate that population for these big companies. And sometimes we attract people that this area does not resonate with. It's like the biking community, you know, the bicycling community. Right. We said, hey, move here. We have great stuff. And we did all this trail infrastructure here with your tax dollars. And they get here and they go, well, I really did love this, but I want more. I want to go bicycle in the Rockies, you know, and so they're migrating. You know, it's like, yeah, we moved here. We love the lifestyle of bicycling, but we want more. We want more hiking. We want more bicycling.
We're going to have a bike lift. We're going to have, is it the first bike lift?
It's a pretty cool concept.
Is that Bentonville, Bella Vista? Yeah. So the Walton grandsons are making a bike lift. So you can do your mountain biking and then be lifted back up at the starting point. Yeah. So there, and I think maybe around Mena, Arkansas also, maybe in South Arkansas, they're going to do another bike lift. So
interesting.
Bike lifts in Arkansas.
So if you're not from Arkansas, y'all, this is God's country.
It is.
And it is really amazing.
You know, you were mentioning about the diversity, and I project out that we've got Asian Indian culture here. Yeah. Very large. And I've got some dear friends who've owned convenience stores or a hotel, and they were here. They moved to Fort Smith. They still own the hotel in Fort Smith, but the family moved back here to Bentonville, Rogers area to be close to their Indian Asian community. Walmart has a very large Indian Asian for the computer tech, right?
It's been a while since I've looked at the demographics on Bentonville alone, but the Bentonville demographics, 15% of them are that Middle Eastern Indian population, and that's a big for Arkansas. That's a big percentage, and Bentonville is growing. Yes. Now a lot of them are here on green card status, and then some of them live here during the week, but their family lives somewhere else. But what keeps them here? And this is what we've seen culturally. You see this with all cultures. We saw that with the Hispanic population. But what keeps them here is having their cultural center. And so Bentonville has a Hindu temple. Yes. And so I got to know a lot of the people when I was in Toastmasters, because a lot of people that were on their way up inside Walmart's a very communication heavy culture. And a lot of the people that were on their way up were Indian, and they needed to practice their communication skills. So I got a chance to meet a lot of them. future executives and things like that.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I mean, there's a good number of them that, have their citizenship here and, voter registration status here. But yeah, it's a large community in Bentonville, and Bentonville's demographic still it's still mostly white.
Mostly white.
It is pretty. Their Hispanic population is pretty small. It's like 5%.
Yes.
Whereas you walk across the street and end up in Rogers, and the population in Rogers for the Hispanic population's
probably
between 30-35%.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell how accurate census data is.
Yeah.
Especially you'll have some people within your population that are not documented, and maybe
Right.
they hide from, they're like, oh, I don't want to be part of the census. And so it's, you can stand on a street corner and look at the cars go by and go, wow, we have a big, beautiful Hispanic population in Rogers.
Yes.
And the African American population, Rogers still pretty small. Bentonville, it's actually percentage-wise a bit more, but
so
not
in
large.
Fayetteville.
But not large.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fayetteville.
University.
Yeah, university. I mean, you have a much more diverse population for that reason.
Yes.
So I believe in Northwest Arkansas, there's a place for everybody.
Place for everybody in Northwest Arkansas. Carrie, you're about near the end. I'm going to ask, being a justice of the peace at Benton County Quorum Court, mostly is about the stewardship of the taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
What other more memorable experiences have you had in the role that made a difference?
Yeah, I tell you what, I'll take you back to 2020.
Uh-huh.
And we were, we had the COVID lockdowns, we had the Black Lives Matter protests, and they're like, everybody defund the police. And so imagine, we had decided that we were going to run a resolution in support of law enforcement, because we do value, here in Northwest Arkansas, we really value our law enforcement. And so what we did was we ran a resolution, and it's a resolution. Resolutions aren't ordinances. They're just like, they're a blessing among the people that this is what we agree, with. So we had this big hearing, and of course there was we'd had protests the first time ever here. We never had protests. We didn't even know what to do with them. And so we knew we were going to have a large group of people come out and to speak at our public forum. And so we planned the meeting out at the auditorium at the fairgrounds, where we had plenty of room to sit apart. And it's so funny, they put all the chairs 6 feet apart.
Right.
It was so hilarious. Anyway, but it was just a funny thing to look at. So we've got our table, we're kind of up in front of the room, and people are coming to speak. And we had, and that's the beautiful thing about our sheriff. Whenever there's a possible issue, he brings out as many people as he can muster. And so you walk in and there's 15 sheriff's deputies to check you in and provide hospitality. Mm-hmm. Do you need water? Is there anything we can do to help? Thank you for being here. It's just it was lovely, but it creates a level of decorum. Okay. So we had people come out, but and so the room is full, even though we're, split up very far.
Right.
And we had 75 people speak that day.
That's right.
All of those except for 3 against the resolution that we were running. And we felt that was, I've got a good feel for what my district and what my voters say, but we felt like that's what we would happen. We weren't really expecting 75 people. But for the next, at 3 minutes each, we listened to why people loved law enforcement.
Uh-huh.
And it was cool. And it's kind of driven me today to go, we really do need to figure out how we pay them more. Like one lady was saying, we don't need to defund them. We need to pay them more.
Yes.
But to have 15 and I think we've got quite a lot of sheriff's deputies, but to have 15 of their representatives in the room that day, after they've been bombarded endlessly across media and social media about how they don't matter, how they need to be gone, how we hate gun rights. It's just all this stuff that was so not who we are here in Northwest Arkansas.
Yes.
And then for them to hear everyday taxpayers, you know, raving.
Yeah.
I mean,
These are the people that take care of us, protect
Yeah.
us.
I mean, that run toward the danger.
Yes.
But anyway, sometimes the ripples crack you up. But I mean, that is. I mean, most of what we do on the Quorum Court is like watching paint dry.
Yeah.
It is not exciting. It is not exciting at all. But it's meaningful, and you want to make sure you got the
Necessary.
right people as a JP, right?
Yes.
Who are out there asking your questions, even if maybe they're a little awkward for people to have to hear those questions. But at least you heard their voice, right?
That's right.
But man, when you get a chance to do those handful of really meaningful things that not just change you, but change, I mean, we changed
Make a difference.
how those law enforcement personnel felt that day, to be able to create a forum
Yes.
that they could hear, you know, firsthand what they meant. I mean, people told personal stories about, you know, law enforcement issues and, you know, that they had and how, you know, that sheriff deputy that day saved a life or things like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, it wasn't like that all over the country.
No.
We could remember that right here, you know, in the belt buckle of the Bible Belt, we still believe in God country and our law enforcement officers. So anyway.
Yes. You know, Carrie's it's social media bullying.
Yeah, it's bad.
And when people come together to talk face to face, you can never negate that. And I was there actually at the Benton County Fairgrounds.
Were you there that day?
I was there that day.
Man, wasn't that powerful?
It was. I remember you talking about that, and yes, how the chairs were apart and everything. I do. And I think I probably had a poster or something in support of our law enforcement.
Yes, people made posters. I
Yeah.
mean,
So, you know, we got to get off the social media stuff and come together face to face. You can never negate face to face over a telephone over texting over social media. I mean, the trickle down effect to where people are more friends with their Facebook than they are with anybody in their neighborhood.
people are now desensitized to being out in public.
Yeah. So, anyway, we're going to wrap up with Carrie Perrien Smith, JP for Benton County Justice of the Peace, and really appreciate your time, Carrie. And what is your ripple today? Go out and make ripples. Ripples are rising. So we're trying to get this cow to accept this abandoned calf. It's not her calf. And it's got a brace on its front leg because the hoof is turned in. So I hope after 3 or 4 days that we can take the brace off and it'll be able to walk normally instead of on its front knuckle. It's easier to lay down than to walk. I'm gonna see if I can pin them up again tonight in the shed here together to see if there's a chance that she will take this baby.